guys, it's Ashley, and today I'm going to be doing another Top 5 Wednesday video. This is the first one for April, and Top 5 Wednesday is a Goodreads group, and I'll leave a link to the Goodreads group down below in case you want to join and see what the topics are. And today's topic is Top 5 Science Fiction and Fantasy Books on your TBR. And there are actually quite a few fantasy books specifically that are on my TBR. I have two TBRs. One is my big, huge one, which is just like all the books I want to read and all the books that I own and haven't read. And then I have a more specific TBR, which is basically called my on deck shelf. Those are all the ones that I need to read absolutely next. And those books consist of a lot of fantasy books actually, but I've narrowed it down to the top 5 that I really need to read, and so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. So number 5 on my list is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. This is the first book in the Lightbringer series, and actually his other book, Way of Shadows, which is the first book in the Night Angel series, is also on my list. I know less about the Night Angel series by Brent Weeks just because I haven't seen as many people reading it. I haven't seen as many reviews and stuff for it, so I don't know as much about that series, but this one I saw on Reagan from Peruse Project's channel. She talks about this book all the time, and it really does sound very interesting. It's apparently this fantasy setup where the world is based on light and you can control different colors of light, and that's how the whole world system works, and that just sounds incredibly interesting. And I guess the most powerful person who can control all the different colors of light is called the Prism, and so this follows a world where that is the setting, and that just sounds super interesting. I'm a little bit nervous because it's like super thick, and I think that's why I've been putting it off for so long. I know that the other one that I said is on my list, the Night Angel series, is a bit shorter, and it comes in like the mass market paperback size. This still sounds super awesome, and I cannot wait to read it. I feel like I'm probably going to read it this year actually. Hopefully the first 2 I'll read this year in 2017. Next is Written in Red by Anne Bishop. This is the first book of the Others series. I am so in love with her Black Jewels trilogy, and I just think it's amazing. It's an outstanding piece of fantasy work written by a female fantasy author, and I've had this book for like 3 years. I've owned it and I have not read it yet, which is crazy because I think that I've actually given this book as a gift to other people even though I haven't read it myself. But like, I know what it's about, and it seemed like it'd be interesting for a couple people I know, so I gifted it to them. So it's just like so crazy to me. So this is super high on my list too. I just have really high expectations for it and really absolutely need to get to it right away because it's not that bad. It looks thick, but this is in that mass market paperback form, so I'm sure it's not that bad, and I need to hurry up and get to it. Next on my list is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is a standalone adult fantasy novel that has been going around like Tumblr and Instagram and YouTube for quite some time now. It's really popular. Pretty much everybody who I know who's read it has loved it and recommends it and always thinks people should read it, so this is super high on my list. I don't know much about it honestly, despite having seen it everywhere. I've managed to stay away from like plot twists and you know, descriptions of it and any kind of spoilers, and I kind of want to keep it that way going into it, especially since it's a standalone. I feel like not knowing very much about it will leave the whole thing like as a mystery and as like this fun experience for me, so I want to leave as much of it as possible as mysterious as possible basically. So I'm really excited about this given the hype for it, and I hope that when I read it, it lives up to its expectations. Number 2 is The Lies of Locke Lamora, and in fact the whole Gentleman Bastard series by Scott Lynch. I own the first 3 of them despite having never read the first one. I see this all the time on Sam from Thoughts on Tomes channel, who actually is the host for Top 5 Wednesday, as well as one of my friends, Becky. She talks about the series all the time. Both of them do. They both have a lot of love for the main character, Locke Lamora, apparently, and love him as a character and love just the stuff that he gets into and the series, and all of the ratings for it have been really high. I think it has over 4.0 rating on Goodreads, this first one, so that tells me a lot of good things, and I probably actually will get to this year just because this has been on my TBR for like 3.5 years and I still haven't read it, so this is pretty high on my priority list for me because it sounds like it's going to be a wonderful, awesome, amazing adventure. And number 1 on my TBR that is science fiction or fantasy is Illuminated by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. No, I have not read Illuminated yet. And yes, I know this is crazy. Everybody freaks out over this book. I know it's a science fiction book and it's like a space odyssey and it's young adult and people love it, and the way that it's told is really interesting because it has really interesting formatting. I know, I get it, but I haven't read it yet. I've owned it almost the entire time it's been out, but I feel like the hype has almost put me off of it. Like, I just hear about it so often in so many videos and like blog posts despite having not read it, so that's kind of put me off from it. But apparently it's really amazing and I need to just hurry up and get to it because I know that I'll read it really fast, especially considering the formatting of the text itself. And Gemina just came out, which is the sequel, so I could probably read that really fast too if I wanted. So this is really high on my list. I'm hoping to get to this by summer of this year, so like July time. I'm hoping to have read this. I don't think that I'll be disappointed, even if I have high expectations and have been hearing all this hype about it. I really feel like it's gonna live up to it. I just need to get around to actually reading it. And that's it. Those are the top 5 science fiction and fantasy books that are on my TBR. You guys should let me know down below what one book on your TBR is that is a science fiction or fantasy book. And I will see you guys next time. Please feel free to like this video if you did like it, and happy reading!